little segment about reimagining traditional formats. So we're going to be looking at, this is going to be a group exercise. You're going to be collaborating with some new friends. We're going to be looking at 4 traditional conference formats: keynotes, breakouts, panels, and fireside chats, right? These are kind of the building blocks of what we think a conference should be or generally is. So we're going to be thinking about how we can reinvent them a little bit. And part of this, I wanted to just mention this updating versus eliminating. I do think that conferences are due for a radical reimagining, but I don't think necessarily that we have to eliminate or like throw the baby out with the bathwater and say no more keynotes ever, right? There's a way to do a keynote that is engaging, that is enjoyable, that is experiential, that is interactive, right? So I think part of what we're looking at here is just how do we turn up certain dials and turn down other dials so that we can make these formats alive for the needs of our modern audiences, right? So there's statistics. The worst of them is that an average adult attention span is 8 seconds. So 8 seconds just went by like that, right? So just thinking about how do we be proactive about that? How do we keep people engaged? How do we give them reasons to engage, right? So if we are passive about it, yeah, they're going to tune out. So as the creators, the designers, the facilitators, the speakers, we have to be proactive about pulling people's attention back in. So we're going to be spending the next little bit doing that together. So it's going to be in groups of 3 or 4, and we'll move around in a moment, but I would invite you to maybe move to a different part of the room, connect with people that you literally did not come here with today and have not connected with yet today. So it might mean scooting around a little bit. So in groups of 3 or 4, we're going to give you 10 whole minutes to choose. You're going to, in the first minute or so, choose one of these formats that your group is going to focus on. So you can choose keynotes, breakouts, panels, or fireside chats. So those are your 4 choices. And with those groups, I would love you in those 10 minutes to come up with at least 5 ideas that answer the question, how might we update this format to be more interactive, engaging, and experiential? So again, to Tucker's point, right, by erasing, like, what can we let go of? What can we take away to give space for new things to emerge? So how might you tweak or adjust or update this format to be more interactive, engaging, and experiential? I'd love you have in the front of your programs a little paper clip on, there's like an index card. So we'd love to have one person from your group just take notes of those ideas, because we're going to collect them at the end of the session. We're going to coalesce them all. We're going to use our AI friends to help us thematically get everything together, and we'll send it back to you in a follow-up email so that you'll get all the ideas from all the groups. So just want you to know, if you are the note taker, ideally, if you can write clearly and legibly, that really helps. And if you can put at the top of it which one of these formats that you're working on, so that when we get the index cards, we'll be able to sort that through. And watch for time on the countdown clock. There'll be a 10-minute countdown clock there. And again, aiming for equal voice and accepting non-closure. So if you're in a group of 4, you're talking 1/4 of the time, you're listening 3/4 of the time. We're saying yes, and we're generatively building off one another's ideas. And just knowing when that 10 minutes is up, again, you might be in the middle of a really rich conversation, and just knowing there's a lot more wonderful things to share today as well. So just do the best you can with the time you have in those 10 minutes. It's groups of 3 or 4. Volunteers can be around helping you find groups if you need groups. Again, the invitation is to find some new people. Okay, 10 minutes sometimes goes by real fast. I hope that was true. I would love to hear, now that you've had a chance to share and ideate, I'd like to hear, as I said, we are going to collect these. We'll coalesce them and send them back to you. I love that you all camped out on the stage. That was so great. I'd love to hear ideas from each group. So one from each of the categories: keynotes, panels, breakouts, and fireside chats. So anyone who would be from a group, a spokesperson that would be willing to share on keynotes? A group from keynotes over here. I've got one behind you. Let's hear from keynotes. If you could share with us some of the ideas you came up with.
Yes, the audience. Oh, Jessica. Hi.
Hi, Jessica.
The audience doesn't know who the keynote is, and the keynote doesn't know who they are till in the moment. And it's based on who is engaging the most and asking the most questions.
Ooh, nice. Love that.
I'll share a couple more.
Yeah, please.
Having the audience move around and meet based on questions that the keynote speaker is giving to the audience. Mm-hmm. So people get to meet during the keynote speech.
Nice.
A keynote completely in the dark,
Ooh.
So you're activating all the other senses.
Ooh, love it.
And a keynote where there's actually 30 keynotes, but the first person passes on to the next person, and the next person passes on to the next person, and it's made in the moment.
Nice. Love it. Thank you. Let's give some snaps for Jessica and Jessica's group. Thank you. Keynotes. All right, let's hear from panels. Who took on panels? All right, we got one over there, Jessica, and then we'll do our other ones over here. Okay, let's hear from Marie.
Building a little bit on what you said, don't intro the panelists ahead of time. Let that emerge versus being biased by their title or maybe where they're from. Or do creative introductions where they're introing each other. Maybe there's a team member, someone who works for them who's actually doing the intro. Really focus on real world case studies, real dilemmas and how they've handled it. No going down the line asking the same question.
Rawr. Cool. Thank you. Thank you, Marie and Marie's group. Awesome. I will say I have no panels here. I find panels are like a double negative. You're like observing another conversation. It's like you're double passive. I have not cracked that nut, so I'm very curious to see how we can reinvent the panel. So next year. Okay, let's go to fireside chats. Anybody in this area who did fireside chat? Sorry, there's a spot right there. Or anyone in the group? Did anyone in the group do fireside chats? Yes? Okay, well, let's come over here then. Would you be willing to stand up and share what you came up with in your group?
Yeah, so one of the most interesting things was to offer the speaker a truth or dare option. Instead of just asking those questions.
Funny you mention that.
Yeah. And then some of the less out-of-the-box things were like asking the audience to write down questions ahead of time and then giving that to the speaker to create some interaction happening. Where did my group go?
What else did they say?
Hot seat. Oh yeah. So using hot seat as a game that could be played. That, if you're not familiar, is once a question is answered, you just expand on the answer. Keep digging and expanding deeper and deeper into the answers that were given. Mm-hmm. One more? No.
There was also an idea that perhaps if you want more engagement with the audience, maybe the host turning back to the audience after the fireside speaker said some things like, how does this resonate with you?
Yeah.
Can you give an example of, you experiencing something similar just for audience engagement?
Nice. Great. Thank you so much. Let's give it up for that team. I will say, I don't know if any of you know Taylor Tomlinson. She's a comedian, but my husband and I just went to see her show the other day in Oakland. And as pre-show, you're sitting in the audience. She had slides going, and there a number that you could text her. She put questions there that she wanted you to text answers to, and then she did kind of like a Q&A, reading out some of those answers afterwards, after the show, with the opener, the guy who was the opening comedian for her, and they did a little chit chat with the answers that the audience had generated after, and then they riffed on it together. It was really cool. I really liked that. All right, we've got our last group, the breakouts. Anybody who did breakouts innovated on the breakout model? Is that Michelle's hand? All right, let's get Michelle's group.
So this is working off of the assumption that breakouts is where you send your audience into different rooms to just listen to speakers talk. So one of the top of the list was open space technology. Kalia can talk more about that, but it's a format where you surface from attendees what are the topics that they want to be interested in, and then you create live in real time what the agenda is, and so that you're creating an opportunity for people to talk about the things that they want to talk about. Mm-hmm. Very intentional space and environment design to make sure you're really fostering an environment to achieve the outcome of listening and connection and reducing distraction, providing guidelines ahead of time to breakout presenters to ensure there's interactivity. Like what does a good breakout look like? What are some of the tools that they can have? Because another idea was pairing subject matter experts with experienced designers, because subject matter experts may not be experts in designing interactive experiences.
Nice. Great. Thank you, Michelle. Yeah, I do. Tahira is going to add something, I think.
I just want to add one thing for all the people in here who have to do panels in their worlds.
Yes.
There's a woman named Kristen Arnold. She's written a book called 123 Ways to Add Pizzazz to Your Panel Presentations, plus 2 other books.
Yeah.
Well worth the read. So if you have to do panels, get her books.
Thank you. Thank you for that recommendation. Yes, and one of the things I do in all of my events like this is I do experience design consultations with all of the presenters. So just, again, that pairing of experience design with subject matter experts can be really, really helpful. And most presenters are so happy to have someone to brainstorm with and kind of kick around their content. So if you were the person who wrote down the on the index card, if you could pass that toward the aisle, and we're going to have the volunteers collect them so that, again, we can like coalesce those for you and make sure that we put them all together, and then we will, again, send that out as a summary. So those are being collected right now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, volunteers.